Since Repair Clinic encourages you to perform this repair safely, a warning icon will appear when you should use caution. Before you replace the water fill tube in your ice machine, be sure to unplug the power cord or shut off the power supply to the appliance. Shut off the water supply as well. Have an assistant help you to move the appliance away from the wall or cabinet. Using a 1/4-inch socket or nut driver, unthread the 2 mounting screws, securing the lower outer access panel. With the screws unthreaded, set the outer panel and inserts aside. Next, unthread the screws to release the inner access panel from the frame. Use a small flathead screwdriver to remove the locking clip securing the outlet tube to the inlet valve. You can use a 5/16" wrench to depress the retaining ring to release the tube from the valve. Next, unthread all of the screws to release the lower rear access panel. Unthread the mounting screws securing the inlet tube to the upper access panel. Remove the vent tube from the retaining clips. Now fully unthread all of the mounting screws securing the upper access panel, except for the 2 upper screws. Now loosen the 2 upper screws and carefully remove the panel. Open the ice machine door and use the 1/4-inch socket or nut driver to unthread the screws securing the access cover to the control panel. You can use a putty knife to help pry the cover free. Use a T20 Torx bit to unthread the front screws securing the top panel. Use the 1/4-inch socket or nut driver to unthread the rear screws. Uninstall the water filter. Disconnect the ice bin thermistor wire connector, along with the cutting grid wire connector. Lift the top panel up and have the assistant support it. Use a T15 Torx bit to unthread the screws to release the filter housing cover. You can now pull the filter housing out. Use a 1/2-inch wrench to depress the retaining ring to detach the water fill tube from the housing. Now fully unthread the lower screws securing the control housing. Loosen the upper screw and you can free the fill tube. Partially lower the top panel and you can fully remove the old fill tube from the rear of the appliance. Install the new water fill tube by feeding the end with the straight connector through the rear to the water inlet valve. Feed the opposite end under the top panel. Support the top panel and secure the fill tube under the control housing. Tighten the upper screw and thread the lower screw. Insert the fill tube into the filter housing port until fully seated, and reposition the filter housing. Realign the housing cover, and secure it with the screws. Reposition the top panel. Reinstall the water filter. Reconnect the cutting grid wire connector, along with the thermistor wire connector. Rethread the front and rear screws to secure the top panel. Reinstall the access cover by aligning the bottom edge first so the ice scoop housing rests on the top of the cover. Secure it with the screws. Make sure the fill tube and wire harness are aligned in the rear channel. Then reposition the upper access panel on the upper screws. Thread the remaining screws to secure the panel. Align the vent tube retaining clips and secure them with the screws. With all of the screws threaded, tighten the upper screws. Feed the vent tube through the retaining clips. Thread the mounting screw to secure the inlet tube to the upper access panel. Now reinstall the lower access panel. Returning to the front of the ice machine, insert the new fill tube into the valve port and slide in the locking clip to secure. Reposition the inner access panel and thread the screws to secure it to the frame. Before you reinstall the outer panel, make sure the inserts are positioned. Then align the panel and rethread the mounting screws. Move the appliance back into place. Turn the water supply back on. Plug the power cord back in or restore the power supply, and your ice machine should be ready for use.